Hey guys, welcome to the Reparenting Daily podcast, your daily free guide for inner child healing. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is a daily reading, the second is a discussion of that reading followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is a peaceful meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you can join us for this journey of healing, self-expansion, and growth. If this is your first time, welcome. Now, before we dive in, I'd like to remind us that we've passed the 500 marker of Reparenting Daily. As a celebration of that, I've opened the Patreon community for free membership so that you can join our Zoom calls for free. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and many people are struggling. And so my hope with this is to encourage others to take up the serious work of reparenting on themselves and to offer and provide a free community where people can do that. I'd also like to personally thank all of you who have been along for the journey so far. Just as a reminder, this is a free podcast, but I do sell the Reparenting Daily Journal where you can follow us along with all the monthly and weekly themes, and where you can also join us in our free Zoom calls to reflect on the weekly themes as we make our way through the year. This is something that I've opened up for free, but you can purchase the journal if you'd like to support the podcast. You can also just copy the themes within your own journal and follow us along there. If you'd like to support us in other ways, you can also join the Patreon with a paid subscription or also donate on Buy Me a Coffee. Just as a reminder, I've created another resource called Fairy Tales for Reparenting. This is a 3-volume series that organizes fairy tales from around the world into the 3 phases of the hero's journey, from beginning, middle, to end. Now, these are fairy tales that come from Grimm's fairy tales and other traditions and other cultures around the world. And while you might think that fairy tales are for kids, actually, these stories contain profound truths and lessons that we can use in our reparenting journey. So these books are a very simple and creative way to connect to your inner child. I'd like to send a very warm thank you to Maria, who has been helping me to edit the books since I had some difficulties in the fall and I've had some issues with my eyes. So now the first 2 volumes are available on Amazon in ebook or regular book format, so you can check those out, and we'll be working on that last volume to release to you as soon as possible. But again, these stories are ways to connect with lessons that are shared across different cultures, to reconnect with your inner child, and to really teach yourself some lessons that have been carried down for centuries and millennia. As we're passing episode 550, I'd like to also turn your attention to the fact that I've changed the meditation at the end of the podcast, and so you can check that out now for a new experience of binaural beats. So this helps with binaural stimulation from the left to right ear, a bit like a replication of the EMDR experience. So I'm hoping that this can help bring you guys some relief, and we'll have other meditations coming soon as we progress with the rest of the year. So with these announcements now out of the way, let's dive into today's practice. Today's reading is an article entitled How to Cultivate an Abundance Mindset, and it's by The Aesthetics of Joy. Just as a reminder, we're in November, and the theme for this month is gratitude and abundance. We're in the first day of week 2, which is November 8th until the 14th, and the theme for this week is shifting from scarcity to abundance. How to cultivate an abundance mindset. It's one thing to say this, though, and another to actually believe it. Unlearning a scarcity mindset doesn't happen overnight, and neither does creating an abundance mentality. I've been working at it for years, and I'm still working on it, because it's such an entrenched way of thinking in our society. Scarcity often thinks into daily interactions, so I thought it might help to share how to develop an abundance mindset. Simple shift in practices that can help you reframe your thinking. Embrace the act of gratitude, the right kind. One of the things that keeps us stuck in a scarcity mentality is that it's so easy to think about what we don't have, and so hard to remember all that we do. Focusing on gratitude helps tip the scales back in the other direction, focusing your attention on the abundance that is already in your life. As you practice gratitude for the things in your life, the joy you find in these things increases. This builds the foundation for an abundance mindset, because it lets you come from a place of already knowing abundance, as opposed to coming from a place of lack and insufficiency. One note of caution: expressing gratitude doesn't mean you have to pretend that everything is perfect in your life, or that you should feel guilty for having everything but a positive mindset. This is toxic gratitude, and often comes in a shaming voice that sounds like, unhappy in your job, you should be grateful to have a job. Angry at your parents for violating your boundaries, you should be grateful they cared so much about you. Feeling like you need to get out of a bad relationship, be grateful You have such a great father for your kids. This gratitude doesn't cultivate abundance. It's actually the scarcity mindset in disguise, telling you that there isn't enough to go around, so you should feel lucky for having anything at all. When you're practicing gratitude, it's okay to acknowledge that life isn't perfect, and it's okay to recognize that you have things others might be grateful for, but aren't right for you. These admissions only clarify and deepen the genuine gratitude you have for the things you truly love in your life. There are lots of ways to practice gratitude, from journaling to writing letters of thanks to people who have helped you in your past. One of my favorite is to do it out loud with your partner or friend. Albert often asks me, what are 3 things you're grateful for this weekend? And as we take turns sharing, this simple question is a low-pressure way to make gratitude a regular part of your routine. Give from the heart. Giving is a practice of abundance. It tells your mind, I have enough to spare that I can give this to someone else. When you're giving a generous tip or donating to a cause you care about or bringing cookies to a neighbor, giving helps you override the scarcity mindset's inclination to hoard the good things in life. For many people with an entrenched scarcity mindset, generosity can feel like a virtue that's hard to access. You may wonder why it seems so easy for others to be generous and why you struggle with it so much. The reason could be that in some point in your life, you didn't get enough of what you needed: food, attention, or even love. And the impulse to hoard is an attempt to fill the hole. If this sounds familiar, small, frequent gifts can be a way to remind this part of your unconscious that you're an adult, that you can take care of yourself, and that you don't have to worry about not having enough. To find ways to give that feel meaningful, take note of when others' generosity towards you has really mattered. For example, when I was blown away by someone, I was blown away by some of the baby gifts I received during the pandemic from people who were not especially close to us. It made me feel so loved in such a hard time. Sending baby gifts now feels like a chance to channel that love and to share it with others. Stop chasing status. Here's one characteristic of people with an abundance mindset. They don't chase status. Let me explain why. Status is conferred by awards and accolades, membership in exclusive clubs, endorsed by powerful people, or approval by the masses. People play status games to gain power and influence within systems of scarcity. Harvard admissions is a status game. The bookseller list is a status game. Titles within corporations are status games. Celebrity is obviously a total status game. Status games are incredibly addicting because we have been conditioned to associate status with worth. Status feels like a shiny gold star of approval. But status is inherently a scarcity game. There is no such thing as status without hierarchy. So to have status means that others need to have less status. They need to be less influential, less powerful. And herein lies the rub. Status is never secure. Anytime you have status, you are at risk of losing it. Publish a best-selling debut book, and your second best is a flop. You've lost status. Marry the most eligible bachelor who later turns out to gamble away all of your money. You've lost status. Not to mention that even when you have status, there will always be someone else with an even higher status. Status is incredibly fickle. So if status shouldn't be your gold standard, what should? Don't worry. I'm getting to that. Thank you. And that's a reading for today. You can check out the rest of the article and the link in the show notes, as always. Welcome back. Today's reading invites us to reprogram one of the deepest wounds of the modern psyche, and that's scarcity. Scarcity whispers there is not enough for me, for others, for love, or success. It drives fear, comparison, and control. In contrast, the abundance mindset says there is enough and I am enough. The text reminds us that unlearning scarcity is a gradual process, one that requires compassion, awareness, and practice. Abundance isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the good that already exists, even alongside the pain or uncertainty. Within the context of shifting from scarcity to abundance, this reading grounds the process in 3 key practices. Gratitude, the real kind. True gratitude is enforced positively. nor guilt-ridden thankfulness. It's honest recognition of what nourishes our soul while allowing space for imperfection and truth. Number 2, giving from the heart. Generosity reinforces a sense of sufficiency. Each act of giving, whether material or emotional, tells your subconscious, I have enough to share. And number 3, letting go of status. Scarcity thrives on comparison. By detaching from external validation and social hierarchies, we reclaim our intrinsic worth and reconnect with genuine abundance, which extends beyond titles, wealth, or applause. From a reparenting perspective, this reading gently challenges the inner child's fear of not having enough food, love, safety, or attention, perhaps. Many of us learn to equate worth with performance or approval because of our early environments that lacked unconditional care. Shifting from scarcity to abundance means showing that inner child consistent safety. You don't have to hoard or chase love anymore. You are already worthy, and there is enough. True gratitude and generosity becomes an act of reparenting. Prove that the world is no longer as cold or withholding as it once seemed. As we go into the journal prompts today, when do I notice the scarcity voice in my life saying that there's not enough time, love, or success? And what does that sound like? And number 2, what form of gratitude feels authentic to me today? Not forced, but real and grounding. And number 3, how can I practice small, heart-centered giving this week to remind myself that there is enough to share? That's it for today, and as always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself, and please do be well. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please go ahead and find a space where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for this 10-minute silent meditation. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you comfortable today. Take a moment to simply be with yourself. Focus on your breath and gently connect with each part of your body. If thoughts arise, don't let them overwhelm you. Just observe them without attachment. Imagine them as leaves drifting down atop a river, passing by without needing your engagement. Stay present, grounded, and open to this moment.